defensive, accelerating Ethereum. Ethereum is accelerating at a thrilling pace and scope. Ethereum is even innovating on how to innovate. We have invented decentralized innovation at scale. There are hundreds of entities in the Ethereum ecosystem building, researching, creating clients, tooling, and like so many building blocks. And ecosystem companies, layer 2s, cross chains, bridges, liquid staking, risk staking, and even more. And we are learning how to innovate like this. Ethereum has been pushing for this decentralized way of innovation and building, and we have just started learning how, and the pace of Ethereum, and should I start from the beginning or no? And the pace of Ethereum's innovation has been increasing every passing year. Every year, the core protocol has more EIPs, and the scope of these EIPs are larger. And we have amazing futures to look forward to. Just check out Vitalik's recent book. And we have had the Beam chain proposal recently. The future is amazing for Ethereum. However, Ethereum has existential risks. Just to remind, 8 years ago, at Devcon Shanghai, Ethereum suffered an attack. There is no guarantee that Ethereum will exist tomorrow, or the next year, or the 10 years later, or 100 years later. For instance, Ethereum would fail if the global internet network would have a catastrophic failure due to a World War III or a solar event or anything else. Another issue is protocol bugs. Protocol bugs could lead to huge issues. Any self-respecting e-commerce website has production-like staging environments. But at Ethereum, the devnets, the testnets, and the simulations we have are nowhere close to replicating the complexity of Ethereum's mainnet. It is a huge ecosystem with so many different parties and conflicts of interest and billions of dollars at scale. Sure, we can revert most protocol issues, but what if there are conflicts of interest between these ecosystem participants? What if there is an issue at the protocol where optimistic rollups are okay, but ZK rollups are screwed? What if there are billions of dollars at stake at each party, and what if Vitalik and Ethereum Foundation may not be able to steer the direction again? There could be a lot of disaster scenarios like this. We can talk about these forever, but what should we do about these? I suggest we need a new entity focusing on reducing Ethereum's existential risks. What exactly should we do? We need to research these existential risks. We need to quantify these existential risks. We need to raise funds to mitigate these existential risks. And then we should fund this research and development of these defensive technologies against Ethereum's existential risks. But why a new entity? Because Ethereum's existential risks are very important for humanity. These issues need a lot more attention and funding. At Ethereum, there is this protocol security group and other DevOps groups, but they are not getting enough resources, funding, and headcount. And in the ecosystem, we have an amazing ecosystem supporting the application layer and beyond, but the research and funding for these protocol level are severely lacking. And in addition, there are a lot of novel research problems on tackling these existential issues. For instance, we don't know how to quantify or incentivize defensive technologies. Public good funding mechanisms are applicable here. However, defensive technologies has novel problems. Any defense deters attacks. Just because a defense exists, some attacks may not materialize and won't materialize. For this reason, we don't know even how to evaluate defensive technologies in retrospect. We also don't know how to evaluate a defensive technology proposal and its impact in the future. OpenAI failed for this reason. OpenAI, as this defensive technology AI company, this non-profit, no longer exists because we as humanity lack these mechanisms to fund and incentivize defensive technologies. There are many novel issues on this existential risk aspect as well. For instance, we cannot have prediction markets and fund these defensive technologies through that because say you bet on Ethereum that Ethereum will fail and you will never get your money back. At Devcon, we are interested in the long game. especially in this room. Ethereum will provide immense value to humanity over a very long time horizon. But if it fails, we may never get a second chance of creating a decentralized world computer like Ethereum. For this, we should take its existential risks very seriously. Please join me in this new Telegram group and discuss how these existential risks could be mitigated. And let's defensively accelerate Ethereum forward. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Han. And yes, please, everyone, join us and try to build better solutions to help humanity. So please, questions for Han.
Hello. Really great presentation, Han. Thank you so much. When it comes to the different risks that you see would be worked on in this organization, what would be the ratio between the technical risks and maybe the social and regulatory risks in order to get the work done? Maybe even some prioritization. It'd be interesting to understand what your thought process is around that.
Yeah, first of all, I'm just advocating and bringing attention to this lack of research on this aspect. We, to begin with, in my opinion, we are lacking a higher level risk analysis on what are these risks for Ethereum. So we don't know, for instance, if these layer zero social issues are biggest threat, or if this lack of good simulation of the protocol and technical aspects are the biggest issue. So if I were to run such an initiative, I would start by classifying these issues and roughly looking at where are these biggest risks. And lots of these risks also depend on other research. For instance, risk of the global internet network disruption is studied in other aspects, but how it applies to Ethereum and how can we as effectively mitigate that as possible for Ethereum. We could also make use of other research in existential risks research and other distributed network and other blockchain research.
Sounds really amazing. Once again, really great presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question. While we are there, are you aware of some initiatives? I mean, I know that you are advocating, but are you aware, is there any initiatives that you can share with people? Apart from the Telegram group, of course, that you shared.
Within Ethereum, there is protocol security group working on this. And ETH Panda Op is the DevOps running the simulations. There are other companies working on tooling, but not directly on these. So such an organization could fund these. But what I would really like to have is something like the Red Guild or SEAL, but for protocol focus, and focusing on mitigating these existential risks.
These people
will
support you
yeah.
in that. Okay, let's see if we have time for one more question. No? Okay, well, please, round of applause again for Han. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Okay, so we are